Hey beautiful people, welcome to the Aries full moon guidance. Hey beautiful people of YouTube, it's your girl Shakima, and I'm just stopping in for a reading today for the Aries full moon that we've got effectively tomorrow. I could say tomorrow, but really we're sort of already effectively sort of in the energies of the Aries full moon already. I hope that everybody's having an awesome October thus far, and I do hope that the energies, the fiery energies of today, is seeing you guys work through some of the shadows that may come up for you guys. Now, this is going to be a general reading for pretty much for all 12 of the different tribes. So I'm going to do a Celtic spread with the tarot here in front of me to just outline the transit for us for this Aries full moon. And then I'm also going to pull a Work Your Light oracle card for each of the different tribes. So that would be Air Tribe, Water Tribe, Fire Tribe, and Earth Tribe. And I'll be able to outline the details for that for you guys as well. But I hope that you guys are having an awesome time thus far. I wanted to sort of wait to be able to do this reading for you guys because the energies of today kind of effectively are what they are. And also we've got Chiron in retrograde. So this is now where the exams of the things that we have been taught during the process of the Saturn retrograde come into effect for us. So it's going to be a pretty interesting one, guys, considering that the Aries full moon is basically within the universal first house, and our first house is our personal identity. It's the identity of self. This is also in alignment with your ascendant. So whatever your ascendant is, that is going to be the focal point of the focus of the lessons that you're going to be dealing with. So all of the masks, I guess, the many masks that we wear, as far as the ascendant reflection of ourself is what's going to be coming to surface to be healed, to be transmuted, and to be integrated into our light. So I hope that you guys are able to effectively navigate through some of that stuff. Hopefully you guys know what your ascendants are. I'm a Pisces sun and Virgo ascendant, so I already know that I have a tendency to be a bit of a perfectionist and just overthink things, and those are some of the things that, you know, my ego is going to struggle with for this Aries full moon transit, just sort of making sure that it knows everything, because that's just the way that Virgo works. We kind of want to be able to know every single step of the process before we actually dive all the way in type thing. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, guys, which is why I'm here to do this reading for us, guys. So I'm going to stop talking and go and get straight into the details for us. Just a little note to self as well. Considering that the moon is effectively in our first house and the moon is going to be in Aries for us tomorrow once we go as far as like the full moon, the organs that are actually going to be impacted by the moon transit are the head, teeth, tongue, and arteries. And that's pretty much just letting me know that there's going to be three main chakras that's going to be activated. That's going to be crown chakra, heart chakra, and throat chakra. And somewhere in there, the third eye is going to be impacted by the transit as well. So we're going to have to go and revisit certain, I guess, belief systems, our demons, I guess, our inner child wounds are going to be triggered as well. And that is for the process of us working through some of the energy of this Chiron retrograde, as I mentioned to you guys. So it's going to be a pretty instrumental process to this part of ourselves until the next Aries season of 2020. And just so you guys know as well, the planet that rules Aries is Mars. So we're dealing with very fiery energy, and Aries is actually a cardinal sign, so it's very much action oriented. So we're going to have to be careful the way that we do things this during this transit, and really just make sure that we're doing things with our best intentions at heart, because sometimes our shadow shows up and takes over the vessel, and it will just run amok and put us in a place of self-sabotage versus us being able to carefully adapt to whatever it is that's kind of, you know, going on around us. So just bear that in mind. What we're going to be focusing on what's going to be illuminated for us during the process of this Aries full moon is a version of ourselves that we project into the world. Okay, so that's something for us to sort of take into consideration as we navigate through the process, guys. But I'm going to go ahead and get straight into the reading for us, guys, and see what is to come. Okay, beloveds? Right, so what is the divine guidance for my life warriors for this Aries full moon? What do we need to know, Spirit? Okay, so what we're dealing with is a lot of self-doubt in terms of our past situations and circumstances. A lot of us has been sort of like refusing to look at, you know, ourselves, and refusing to actually take accountability for ourselves, and refusing to take accountability for our own actions and our shadows, essentially. So those are some of the things that has kind of transpired in the past. And in the present moment, we're carrying a lot of baggage from the things that we didn't take the time to look at, the things that we didn't necessarily take the time to address during the process of the Saturn retrograde. So those are a lot of the things that are kind of holding us back from officially being able to make that transition and move forward. And in the future trajectory, I can see that we're very hopeful as Spirit is pouring out the old. And we are basically going through a process of a spiritual rejuvenation as this takes place for us effectively as well. Okay, beloved, so let's have a look and see. Where are my life warriors for this Aries full moon, and what crosses them, Spirit? As clearly as you can. Okay. So where we are, guys, what I can see is that we are at the point of contemplating. Okay, we're at the point of going into deep meditation. We are really taking the time to think about the way that we are creating what are some of our belief systems and how we're effectively manifesting as a result. Some of us are really taking this time to contemplate and focus new financial opportunities that we can manifest for ourselves. And others of us are really looking at some of the blockages that we're dealing with in terms of the manifestation process of these new financial opportunities, or trying to figure out at least how to navigate through some of the creative blocks that we may be experiencing. I do want to say that a lot of the creative blocks that you may be experiencing is due to reckless, how can I put it? It's down to you just making very emotional based decisions and choices. So that's something to take into consideration. For some of you guys, you're dealing with third party situations as well, and you want to be at, you're really contemplating it. You're really sort of thinking about doing something new and doing something differently. And third party doesn't necessarily mean sort of cheating. It does for some people. I do want to put that across, but for others, it does sort of, it's speaking about the fact that in your relationships, there may be somebody outside of the relationship that has a lot of say over how things transpire within the relationship, and that may be causing a lot of issues between the two of you guys. Okay, so that may be friends or family that may be sort of inserting their 2 pence worth. For those of you that are dealing with, you know, third party situations where it is a case of somebody else being a part of the relationship based on the lust aspect or the love aspect of things, it seems as though it is down to someone else's reckless behavior, and somebody's just being very foolish in the process of what's kind of transpiring with that situation. And I can see that there's going to be some new opportunities to do things differently in terms of our insecurities, and we are very overwhelmed with these opportunities as they show up. We may not have been ready for them just yet, because I can see a lot of us is navigating through the process very wounded, very paranoid about what is to come, and it's actually leaving us to be very hesitant as well, about whether or not we do have the potential, whether or not we do have the power to be able to make the changes that we're contemplating. And it's going to be a pretty major, it's almost like we're almost completing a cycle, but we're not quite there yet, because I can see we've got the 9 of Wands is the path that we're crossing. So we're very wounded, you know, we've kind of navigated through the process where we've exerted a lot of our energy thus far, and right now we're trying to be smart about the way that we do things versus having to work hard, because we don't really have the energy to sort of put into working any more harder than we already have done. Okay, beloved, so let's have a look and see what's going on all around for us. So what is in the past trajectory for my life warriors for this Aries full moon, Spirit? Okay, so in the past, guys, we do have the fact that there has been partnerships that has been having to pour out some of the old patterns and belief systems. And I think this is pretty much talking about the fact that we are obviously coming into the Aries full moon after the Libra new moon, which was really effectively all about partnerships. So in the past, we've really sort of connected with our soulmates. We've connected with, I guess, the people around us that sometimes kind of give us an opportunity to be able to, how can I put it? Sometimes they may trigger us, but when we come back to ourselves, we know that, you know, because it's somebody that we care about, because it's somebody that we love, essentially, we're able to navigate through the process a little bit better because we're a little bit more tactful about the situation. It does seem as though we, again, like I said, we're having to really sort of ground ourselves from a lot of the reckless decisions that we have made in the past to do with our partnerships, particularly to do with romantic partnerships and soulmate relationships, as far as friendships as well, because those are some of the things that are impacting our manifesting process moving forward, and potentially our ability to make the kind of money that we want to make as well moving forward, is what I'm seeing. What is being poured out from those relationships is anybody that's being too ruthless, that is not kind of like allowing for a balance of give and take within the relationship. Those are some of the patterns that are being poured out. Anybody that has really high expectations of the other person, those are some of the things that are being poured out as well. And I can see that anybody that's being excessively controlling or demanding with somebody else's time, energy, or resources, those are some of the things and patterns that are being poured out from the past situation. So those are some of the things that kind of led us to where we are now, where we're really contemplating the next steps to take, so we don't have to, again, work as hard as we are or have done in our relationships, and see if we can work a little bit smarter in our relationships instead. Okay, what is the future trajectory for my life warriors for this Aries full moon? Okay, so in the future, guys, what we do have is that, again, we'll be going through spiritual recovery, and we'll also be able to gain some financial recovery over any, you know, financial struggles that we may have been having, any financial constraints or disarray that we may have been going through. We are going to effectively, with this Aries full moon, it's going to give us an opportunity to be able to gain some financial stability. So we should be able to see this come into full fruition by next Aries season, where we feel spiritually renewed and secure in the new version of self that is being built and sown into, I guess, manifestation now, effectively, at this point of the transit, moving into the Aries season. And it will also sort of see us be able to kind of see the financial rewards of all the groundwork that we're putting in at this point of the situation as well. Yeah, it is going to be a slow moving process, but we're going to be very, very resourceful from here moving forward. It seems as though that is really the intention for us at this point in terms of the way that we're manifesting, guys. And I can see, as far as us being very, very disorganized, that's something that we're going to be able to sort of be a little bit more resilient about as well. We're going to be able to gain some structure for ourselves. We're determined to do so. I can see that, because we're open to the changes that are actually transpiring for us in the future trajectory. And it seems as though, even though there's a lack of self-discipline, it is because we are focusing more on the creative aspect of things, and it does seem as though we're holding off moving forward as well because of obstacles to the creative process. But for the most part, we're really focusing more so on building the structure of things, more so than focusing on the creative aspects, because that is, you know, in here, and that's just going to come naturally once the foundation has been laid, essentially. Let's see, what is in the subconscious mind for my life warriors for this Aries full moon? What is in the subconscious mind for my life warriors for this Aries full moon, Spirit? As clearly as you can. Okay, guys, so in the subconscious mind, it's interesting because we're all about building stability for ourselves. We're all about building that solid foundation. Like I said, we're really focused on making sure that the structure is in place, and the cards are actually, you know, pretty much outright relaying the same focus as well. It seems as though we have been immature in the past. Okay, so there has been creative blocks that we haven't necessarily dealt with in the best way. We've just kind of like thrown our toys out the cart. We've kind of cried over spilt milk. And that's because our inner child is being, you know, really given an opportunity to mature, given an opportunity to grow up. And a lot of the times, a lot of the shadows that we're dealing with is actually our childlike programming, because our ego comes in at the age of 2, and that's where we really start to really sort of implement some of those belief systems, or start to formulate some of those belief systems that we had been learning through the behavior of the people around us up until that point. And we also subsequently continue that process up until the age of 7, and then after that it's really a case of us implementing the things that we've learned and playing that out in our life. So I can see that some of us have been immature about the creative blockages that we had been experiencing, because we've just been telling lies, not just to ourselves, but we've been deceptive to others around us as a result of doing so. And I can see beneath the surface, we're actually wanting and hoping to achieve spiritual victory despite everything that has transpired, because that is the intention. I can see that going forward we will be able to achieve this victory, but first we actually need to be honest with ourselves first and foremost, and that's going to be the biggest blessing that we can ever give to ourselves within the, I guess, dynamics of the situation that we're dealing with. Because even though we're trying to create this solid foundation for ourselves and this structure, there's a lot of scattered thoughts that's really kind of impacting the process, and a lot of us are dealing with restless nights as a result of that, because there seems to be a lack of harmony with the situation. But there is going to be an opportunity for us to receive some justice moving forward with the situation, particularly in our romantic relationship. So for those of you that are dealing with, broken home situations, this Aries full moon is going to give you an opportunity to, I guess, put things into perspective for yourselves as well. Okay, what is in the conscious mind for my L.I.F E Warriors for this Aries full moon spirit? As clearly as you can, please. Okay, so in the conscious mind, guys, what we're dealing with is that there may be, for some people, there has been a breakdown in communication to do with the circumstances surrounding the home. And for others of you, it seems as though you're going through a transition to be able to realize and actualize your potential. For some of you guys as well, it does feel as though there's definitely a lot of newness that's taken place. Some of you guys may have been separated, so that may have been due to the breakdown in communication within the home that I was speaking about. So you may have been separated from loved ones, romantic partners, in the past, and now you're sort of taking an opportunity to revisit the potential of the relationship. You're taking an opportunity moving forward as well to really sort of look at whether or not, it does have, both of you guys have what it takes to be able to navigate through some of the challenges that the relationship was pretty much facing, because it is something that is causing you guys, again, a lot of sleepless night and insomnia. It's almost like you're struggling without your person. But I can see, for the most part, some of you guys are going through a transition beyond the nightmares that you're sort of experiencing, and you're enthusiastic about it. And some of you guys are really sort of optimistic as well about the fact that, you're getting this new opportunity for a fresh start. I can see it's more a case of you contemplating again what it's going to mean for you moving forward. Okay, let's have a look and see what's going on in the atmosphere for us for this Aries full moon. What's in the atmosphere, Spirit, for my L.I.F E Warriors for this Aries full moon? What is in the atmosphere? Okay, guys. So in the atmosphere, what we're experiencing, guys, is a lot of so in the past we've experienced excessive control. A lot of inflexibility is why we were so controlling about the situation, because it was causing us a lot of, I guess, depressive moments. We were getting bouts of depression from time to time. I can see that in the present moment we will be kind of exuding a lot more warmth. It seems as though we'll be a little bit more grounded in terms of the way that we're doing things, because again, Aries is an action oriented sign, because it's a cardinal sign. But moving forward, we'll be navigating through the process from very much self-imposed restrictions. So we'll be sort of navigating with very much limited beliefs on what we can and can't do about the situations that we're dealing with that may be impacting the solid foundations that we're trying to build for ourselves. But that's because we're trying to be very controlling about the situation. That's because we're trying to be very controlling about the situation, and we do actually just need to listen to our intuition more so than anything, and channel through the doubt rather than let the doubt restrict the potential of what we can maybe bring into manifestation as far as what's going on in the atmosphere for us. We're not necessarily seeing all of the potential opportunities, basically, is what's going on in the atmosphere, and we're making decisions based on limited viewpoints with the situation. So just bear that in mind, guys. What is in the attitude for my L.I.F E Warriors for this Aries full moon? What's our attitude like dealing with the energies of this Aries full moon? Okay, so for a lot of us, we're dealing with, making sure that we have, so the attitude is to be able to conform, basically. That's the attitude that we have. We want to be able to kind of make sure that we have a stable traditional home, a stable traditional, belief system. We want to just kind of utilize what the system can do for us. I know that we're spiritual people, and a lot of us, like, we don't want to get caught up in the matrix of things, but the reality is sometimes we need to be able to integrate the mundane into the spiritual aspects of what we're doing. So we're trying to figure out how to be able to conform and build a solid foundation for ourselves, because it's required, and that's really the attitude that we're sort of navigating through the process from. I can see as well, we're walking away from, we've basically taken some time to walk away from relationships, from family relationships that may have, impacted us in a way where we felt like we needed some time to recuperate and recover. We're also moving and walking away from any financial failures as well, so that we can really be able to build this structure for ourselves that we're trying to manifest. I can see again, there may be some decisions that are being made, like I said, because of emotional attachment to people. So there may be codependency in certain relationships that may be impacting our decision-making process to be able to tap into this abundance that we can see before us. So do bear that in mind, because I can see that it's impacting our decisions, particularly in our romantic circumstances as well. Okay, so you may want this traditional relationship from your partner, and it seems as though you need to maybe ask yourself, do you want the relationship for the right reasons, or are you doing it because you feel as though that's just naturally the next step for you guys? Or is it because you genuinely feel like this is somebody that you want to be able to elevate to the next stage of your relationship with? Okay, make sure you're making the right decisions for yourself and your counterpart as well, guys. What is in the hopes and fears for my L.I.F E Warriors for this? Okay, hopes and fears for us, guys. Again, it's all about the decisions that we're making, particularly in our romantic relationships, but also overall. We want to be able to make sure that we're making decisions that are for our best interest. We want to make sure that we're making decisions that are going to see us come to some sort of harmony. We want to make sure that we're making decisions with our higher self at the forefront of the ship in terms of how we're navigating through the process, because a lot of it is actually causing us some depression in terms of the way that we're navigating through the situation. Again, because we're not really looking at the way that we're making decisions. We're being very scattered in terms of the energy and the thought process that we're sort of, utilizing to approach the situation that we're navigating through. And it seems as though we will get an opportunity, if we can sort of go within and do some soul searching, we'll be able to get some justice over the broken home situations, because that keeps coming up for us, guys. The broken home situations, the things that aren't necessarily manifesting particularly great within our family circumstances. And it does also sort of show that pretty much God is going to be a part of what we are creating, as source always is. But in this particular process, it's almost like spirit is going to be sitting into our relationships on a one-to-one sort of individualized basis. So it's going to be a pretty interesting transit for us, guys. What is the outcome for my L.I.F E Warriors, spirit, for this Aries full moon? What is the outcome for my L.I.F E Warriors for this Aries full moon? As clearly as you can, please. I can see here as well, guys. You guys, we do have a few major arcanas here as well. So again, the outcome for us, guys, wow, the outcome for us is that we will be able to, and you've seen this card show up, Four of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck a fair few times throughout the reading. So the outcome is that we will be able to build this structure. We will be able to build this stability that we're sort of trying to manifest for ourselves. And why? Because we'll be putting in the hard work. We'll be educating ourselves on what is the best course of action to really take to be able to see it come into manifestation, and we'll be addressing the situation accordingly in such light. So it's not really a bad place for us to be with the situation, guys. I can see that anything that's kind of triggering our insecurities, we're holding off from those things. And in the meantime, we're really just kind of focused on the things that we need to be able to do to kind of achieve what it is that we're trying to create for ourselves. Even through the obstacles, we will be triggered by some of these obstacles, but we're not deterred by that. We're really just focused on what it's going to take for us to achieve the goals that we're trying to manifest. And there will be some negative external factors and forces to the situation that will cause some restrictions, but those are the moments where you're supposed to just stop, take a minute, sit back and sacrifice, surrender to spirit, so that again, spirit can be the one to be able to take you through to the next part of the timeline, versus your ego trying to create a timeline that is not in your best interest, a timeline that is not your path of least resistance. Basically, Spirit's going to open the doors so that you can navigate into the timeline that is rightfully yours, to be able to build this solid foundation for yourself. But what I was actually trying to say as well, guys, is that we've got a lot of, you know, major arcanas going on. We've got major arcana going on in the subconscious mind, because we've got the Chariot moving forward, and we've got the Ace of Wands in the conscious mind in the present position for us. So there's definitely an opportunity for us to see and move forward, tapping into our raw potential and power with the situation, guys. And I can see, as far as, you know, the atmosphere that we're dealing with as well, we've also got the Emperor, but the Emperor is not necessarily feeling its best. It's actually kind of from what I can see in its reverse motion. So it's just a case of being excessively controlling. In the attitude of the situation, we've got the Hierophant, and again, that's because we want to be able to create those traditional I guess relationships for ourselves, that traditional viewpoint, that conformed perspective. Basically, whatever society has built for itself, we want to be a part of that, basically, just so that we can create this solid foundation and structure for ourselves. And again, that's a major arcana for us as far as the attitude. So at least we're sort of in that point of really owning our power. And in the hopes and fears, again, we do have a major arcana, which is the Lover's card. And it's just really a testament to the fact that Spirit's going to be working with us as we navigate through the process of this month, guys. So it's going to be a fairly interesting month, to say the least. Okay, beloved, so we're going to go ahead and have a look to see potentially what's transpiring for each of the different zodiacs. Considering that this is an Aries full moon, and Aries is a fire sign, we're going to go ahead with the Aries, fire tribe reading, and see what is the divine guidance for us, starting with the fire tribe, and then we'll be able to navigate our way through. Okay, what is the divine guidance, Spirit, for my L.I.F.E Warriors for this Aries full moon? So again, we just kind of need to set effective boundaries in place for ourselves in terms of our relationships from the past. Are we allowing for people to take more than we can give? Are we setting effective boundaries in place for ourselves to protect our heart, to keep us in the spirits of the highest vibrations? Or are we just giving our energy and time willy-nilly to people, and then finding ourselves navigating through the process with the spirit of resentment, the spirit of frustration? Those are things that we are going into contracts with by not setting effective boundaries in place for ourselves. So just bear that in mind. It's easy to say that it's their fault, but if you didn't take an opportunity when your spirit was saying to you, okay, do not overexert me in this area, and you did exactly that, it's technically somewhat your fault. It's kind of like a 50-50 thing. We have to learn how to take accountability for our shadows as well, guys. Otherwise, we're powerless to them. And, because we can never really control our shadows, we only learn how to master them. The best thing that we can do is learn how to navigate through them as they show up, and what they're here to sort of show us about where we are in the journey and what we could potentially do better to heal ourselves and protect ourselves. Because I'll tell you like this, when your demon shows up and it's literally cutting someone out left, right and center, it's speaking your truth. It's just those are situations where it basically took the spirit of anger to pop into the space to speak on your behalf, because you weren't taking an opportunity to speak up for yourself. You were being passive about the situation when you knew that you wanted to do other things for yourself. And then the spirit of anger came in, spoke on your behalf, disrupted the course of that potential relationship, and now you're having to feel guilty about some shit that, you could have just taken an opportunity to have a discussion about when there was an opening to do so. Okay, what's happening for us in the here and now, we're going into a process of the initiation, guys. We're going into a process of initiating ourselves into the shadows, into the darkness. We're going on to Shadow Island to go and see what shadows have been left behind that may still be impacting our creating process, that is effectively affecting our belief systems as far as who we are today versus who we have been years, maybe decades ago for some of us. Okay, and moving forward, I can see that the Council of Light will be with us, guys, okay? Bear in mind that you're dealing with the Ascended Masters, and they are here trying to assist you to be able to navigate through the process. Your guides, utilize your team, beloveds, as you navigate through the process. Utilize your angels, utilize your spiritual community navigating through the process moving forward, because that is the only thing that's going to help you get yourself off Shadow Island. Okay, it's important. You need to know and understand what tools you have to be able to navigate through the process. Otherwise, you leave yourself at a loss and you will just be sat there with no direction or no insight into how to navigate through the process and get yourself off Shadow Island. Okay, what is the divine guidance spirit for my fire tribe for this Aries full moon? What do they need to know to work their magic for this Aries full moon? As clearly as you can, please. What is the divine guidance spirit for my fire tribe for this Aries full moon? What do they need to know to work their magic for this Aries full moon? As clearly as you can, please. Okay. Oh, I'm going to go and grab that card because it's popped out all the way over there. And I can understand what, I guess, Spirit's saying. The advice for you guys is to answer the call. Okay, answer your soul's calling. What is your soul calling you to do during this Aries full moon? Because this is your sign, fire sign. Okay, Aries is a fire sign. It is the first, you know, house universally. This is where we get to basically define who we are by the means of projecting that version of ourselves out into the world. So answer your soul's calling. What is your soul calling you to do? It's a process of inquiry for this Aries full moon. Go through a process of asking yourself the right questions that you need to, and know that you're really being able to bring into manifestation the age of light. Know that you've been training for this for lifetimes, and this isn't something that's new to you. It's something that you've been working towards for a long time. What you need to do is learn how to fill up your well and stop pouring out into others when your cup is empty. Okay, answer your soul's calling. If you need to say no, that's fine. I'm gonna go and grab the other card that you guys have got for the reading, because it's literally like across the room. Bear with me. Ooh, I thought it was one card, but it was two cards, guys. So in the present moment, the advice for you guys is to just make sure that you are tuning into your heart space. Okay, tune into your heart chakra. That's where you'll be able to hear the calling of your spirit. That's where you'll be able to hear your soul's voice speaking directly to you. If your heart is telling you not to do something, just know that it is for the betterment of yourself long term. And moving forward, just know that everything is happening to you. It's the ever unfolding rose. It's not happening to you. Sorry, it's happening for you. So things are going to unfold naturally. The more you adhere to your heart's calling, your soul's calling, the more you'll be able to sort of reap the benefits of, I guess, what is to come for you, what your soul came here to do. Okay, because you've been training for this for lifetimes. Yet again. So let's see, we're going to go ahead and go with Air Tribe Singers. We're still effectively in Libra season. Okay, what is the divine guidance for my Air Tribe spirit to work their magic? Okay, oh damn. Okay, so for you guys, there's a lot going on for you guys. So for you guys, for my Air Tribe babies, you guys are navigating through learning how to balance things, learning how to balance being the teacher. We're going through the sisterhood of the rose process. Okay, you're going through a process of devotion to being a mystical teacher, and it's something that you have to kind of, I guess, what you need to do during this time is release some of your soul's patterns and contracts that are no longer serving you, because you're going through a process of unbounding yourself from those contracts. Okay, from the past, and you're releasing those patterns from past lives as well even. And in order to do so, you're going to need to get grounded in this present moment. Okay, for the Aries full moon, give yourself an opportunity to get grounded, connect to nature if you need to, so that you can navigate through the process of what's transpiring for you. Now the rest of the cards that's also popped out is a few cards that is pretty much saying you've been training for this for lifetimes. Okay, know that that's what you came here to do, and in the present moment you're dealing with the fact that Lemuria, heaven, is being created here on earth. And moving forward, what you need to do is focus on the things that are lighting you up. Don't necessarily feed yourself to the depths of your ego whilst you're on Shadow Island. You know, just focus on the things that are going to light you up. Navigate through the shadows by turning on your light, beloveds. Okay, and releasing some of those contracts that are no longer serving you, because you know your power, you know the depth of your power at this point, and you know that you've been training for this for lifetime. So now it's time to show up for yourself. Okay, Let's have a little look and see. Yeah, you're going to have to learn to mother yourself in the process as you navigate through releasing your old patterns. You're going to have to look at the, I guess, belief systems that has been given to you by your root chakra, by your family, by your parents. Immediate and extended family essentially is what you're going to be looking at, the patterns there, to be able to navigate through the process and get grounded in yourself, to identify what is still working for you and what may no longer serve you at this point. Okay, what we're going to do now, considering that air is the water bearer, we're going to go ahead and pull some cards for the water tribe. What is the divine guidance spirit for my water tribe for this Aries full moon? In terms of working our magic, what does my water tribe need to know? Okay, guys, that's literally gone on the floor. But we are birthing a new age, water tribe. Okay, we're birthing a new age, which is the undertone of what's going on for us. And in order to do so, we have to fill up our well. I can see the card is kind of turned right. So we're going to be challenged to do so. We're going to be challenged to see how much of a yes man we still are versus us being able to honor our feelings in the moment and say no when we need to as well. So we're kind of like dealing with some of the same energies for the fire tribe as well. And particularly for the air tribe, I think all of us are learning how to say no when we need to and yes when we have to. Not to, society, but to our spirit, to our soul. I'm going to go and grab that card for us, guys. Yeah, so we're going to have to learn how to fill up our well, okay? The advice for us is to retreat from the external world, give ourselves an opportunity to rest and rejuvenate, recalibrate ourselves, so that we can really just give ourselves an opportunity to go through a process of calling in our soul family. In order to do so, we're going to need to make sure that we've got all the energy as possible. So it's going to be very, very important, this next transit that we're sort of navigating our way through. We're going to close out the space now with a final card for the Earth tribe as far as how to work their magic. What is the divine guidance spirit for my Earth tribe? Okay. So for you, Earth tribe, the recommendation for you guys is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Okay, what would you do if you weren't afraid of some of the things of your past, of some of the circumstances that transpired in your past? If you weren't a vulnerable child receiving those belief systems, what would you do differently? That's the way to kind of like approach the situation, because what's going on for you in the present moment is that your adult self versus your childlike version of yourself that may no longer be serving you. You're going through an awakening to sort of integrate your new way of thinking and being, and you're getting some energetic upgrades in the process. And moving forward, you'll be able to sort of see that it's a part of the divine plan. It's all about Anna, the grandmother of Jesus. That's kind of laying the foundations for yourself, essentially, is what's taking place. And the outcome is that you'll be able to break the chain and heal the ancestral patterns and change the course for your lineage moving forward, Earth tribe. But what essentially needs to happen is that you need to sort of not take yourself too seriously, play with the energies, and know when to celebrate, when to have fun, and when to kind of sit back and relax with the situation. Okay, you also need to shift your vibration every so often, so do some dancing, some poetry, as and when you need to do so. I could feel my nose sort of tickling as I'm channeling the information through, so that was to be expected. But yeah, do some dancing, some poetry, some creative expression of self as and when you need to do so, to help you just shift your vibration as you navigate through the process of the month. Okay, beloveds, I hope that was useful for you guys. Obviously this is a general reading for you guys, so I hope that you guys are able to effectively take away from it whatever it was that you needed to hear during the process of this reading. And if you guys would like to book a personal reading with me, then the details to do so will be in the description box below. The link in the description pretty much gives you access me on all my other social media channels, so that's including my Instagram, my Facebook page, my Podbean podcast. Definitely be sure to check that out, guys. I'm going to be able to sort of start uploading that onto my YouTube channel as of next week as well. And And you'll also be able to get access to my website, as I mentioned, to be able to book me for personal readings, or you can also book me for shadow working sessions to work through some of the stuff I mentioned here as well, or energy work. I also sort of do distance healing as far as shadow working, as well as Reiki. So those are some of the things that you can find on my website. But I hope that this was useful for you, beloveds. As per usual, I'm sending you guys nothing but love, light, and positive intentions for the journey ahead. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Ashe, and God bless. Mwah. That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for more.